Welcome to the Ask the Experts show with local celebrity hosts Steve-O and Renee. Sit back each week while Steve-O and Renee educate you with live in-studio experts, such as lawyers, doctors, home improvement, and financial experts in their field. Call in and have your questions answered each week at 888-565-1470. Now, here is Steve-O and Renee with today's expert in their field.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome to another Ask the Experts. This is coming to the end of our third year, which is pretty amazing. And I just want to tell everybody, Renee and I have just been nominated as the top 5 AM personalities on New Times Reader's Choice. So if you go to www.browardpalmbeach.com, right in the right top-hand corner, you'll say it says Best of. And when you go in, we're actually the first category. It's Best AM Radio Personalities, Steve-O and Renee. So I hope you'll go there and vote for us. Hey, we got a great show today. We got 2 great shows today. We are doing our monthly estate planning show with the law firm of Ginsberg and Schulman, and we have Mr. David Schulman on with us. Hey, David.
Hey, Steve. How are you?
You got to keep that beard, bro.
It
looks
so?
Good. Yeah.
All the people out in radio land like to see it too.
Okay. Wife like it?
No wife right now.
Okay, so this is going to get you a girlfriend, I promise you. We have, I hope you don't mind, we've gotten so many emails, people that have just, I don't know if they're quick questions, I don't know if they're easy questions, but we're going to go through questions today. Hey, if you'd like to call, if you've got a question for David, I think I'm going to open up the lines today for the first time. Number here is 888-565-1470. 888-565-1470. We're going to talk about estate planning, maybe a little elder law. We're going to talk about wills and probate today. But if you got a question, this is the time to call 888-565-1470. If you want to watch today's show, give everybody your website.
It's at www.ginsbergschulman.com. It's not live now, but it should be on tomorrow.
Okay. We're going to talk about that too because it should be live. You can actually go right now to the station's website at www.wwnnradio.com and you can watch our show live. We're going to get David all set that you can go to his website and watch the show live. So let's get started with the questions.
Bring it on.
These are in no certain order, so if we skip around, but I thought this was, I've never heard of a durable power of attorney. It says, Mary Ann says, why do I need a durable power of attorney?
A durable power of attorney allows someone to make decisions for you if you become incapacitated and can no longer make them for yourself. These aren't healthcare decisions. These are checkbook decisions. These are financial decisions.
Okay.
Someone to open your mail, to pay your bills, and to run your household, and to make sure the cable's paid, and the utilities are paid, and that the trash is picked up, or anything you can do for your life, for yourself, you can appoint someone to do it for you if you become incapacitated.
So is there a power of attorney and a durable power of attorney?
Well,
2 different, are they the same?
A durable power of attorney means that even if you become incapacitated, it stays in effect. Okay. There are certain types of powers of attorney that are for very brief purposes only. Let's say you want to have someone do only one thing for you, and that's it. So you do a power of attorney for that one special thing, and then it expires, it's over. If you become incapacitated, it's not into effect.
Give me an example of what could happen that you'd want to have a durable power of attorney.
Well, if you are in a car accident and you're in a coma and you can't make decisions for yourself, someone needs to pay your bills. If you need to file a lawsuit, someone needs to do that for you.
Never thought about that.
People, as they get older, my grandmother has Alzheimer's, and she's in a assisted living facility, and she has. Physically she's okay, but she has no idea what's going on. So I have her power of attorney, so I pay her health care bills, and I make sure that the facility is paid, and that anything that she could do to run her life that she can't do anymore, that's what I do under the power of attorney.
So you brought up you said if you were in an automobile accident. So if I'm 40 years old and I'm in an automobile accident, and say if I have some kind of brain injury, but I probably haven't done a durable power of attorney.
It's a problem. In that case, there may have to be what's known as a guardianship, in which someone has to go to court and have a judge appoint a guardian on your behalf to make decisions for you. And that's a very intrusive, a very expensive process that the judge will actually issue an order taking away your rights, declaring you incapacitated and taking away various rights from you. And then someone else will have to make decisions for you. And that person will have their own attorney, and you'll have you'll have a court-appointed attorney, and everyone gets paid, and they get paid from your money.
But I wouldn't know I was going to be in that automobile accident.
No one knows knows.
So should people have a durable power of attorney?
It's essential. It's really important.
See, that's why it's important to go to you, because who would think of something like that? Whereas you know everything that needs to be taken care of.
I certainly try.
Okay, so that's a durable power of attorney. How frequent, this is Carrie, how frequently should I update my will?
You should have it reviewed every 3 to 5 years, and then every major life event. So every 3 to 5 years in general. Then if you get married, if you get divorced, when you have a new kid, if you have a new job, if you come into a lot of money, if you inherit something, if you have less money, if you move to a new place, anytime.
If you move.
Especially if you move from state to state.
Okay.
Anytime you have a new life event, that means that some things may have changed with your financial and personal situation. You may have different beneficiaries. Your tax situation may have changed. Whatever that is, it's a good time to have your estate planning, your will reviewed.
Well, we're sitting here talking to David Schulman. He's one of the senior partners of Ginsberg Schulman. They're over there on Las Olas in Fort Lauderdale. Now, what if someone is here in Palm Beach?
We also have an office in Boca on Glades Road, where we can see people
close
also.
here to the station.
Right in One Boca Place on Glades Road.
But if you need to make an appointment to see David, it's 954-839-8705. We're actually going to be taking calls for the first time today, 888-565-1470. I've got an email here from Bobby. What happens if I die without a will? I bet you the Prince thing is what caused that question.
It's a very good question. If you die without a will, the state of Florida has an estate plan for you. It's called intestacy.
That doesn't sound good.
It's really not. In most situations, it is the state decides who gets your property, and it depends if you're married, if you have children, if you're who's alive depends on who gets your property. So Prince wasn't married and had no children. In his situation, his brothers and sisters, some of them half sisters and half brothers, who he hadn't spoken to in 30 years, are going to get a chunk of a several $100 million estate.
Now I know it's a different state. It's Minnesota,
right?
How much? Don't they get half? I heard some of the states, if you do not have will, they actually get half of your estate.
Well, half of Prince's estate is going to his uncle.
Okay.
His Uncle Sam.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I heard that if you don't have
right. It doesn't necessarily mean if you don't have a will that you're going to have to pay taxes. But if you have that much money and you don't do planning, then you're going to have to pay the taxes, which if you did do planning would have significantly reduced the tax burden.
David, how does a guy with all of his money, all of his managers that he has, not have a simple will?
I have no idea. You can tell.
I mean, why? Do you have any idea? I mean, you've been doing this for a long time. Why would someone not do a simple will?
Well, Prince was kind of kooky, so I'm sure people told him every day, but he just did what he wanted to do.
Wow.
You can tell people until you're blue in the face, but until then it's too late.
This is from Morris. What are some of the decisions that I will have to make in order to set up my estate planning?
Very good question. Very simple. Who's going to get your property? How are they going to get it? And who's going to make decisions, both while you're alive and after you pass away? So you figure out who your heirs are, who you want, your children, your nephews, your grandchildren. Who's going to get the property? Then how are they going to get it? Because you really don't want to give them the property outright. You want to give it to them, especially if it's more, in a trust for their benefit, and that would protect them from themselves and from future creditors. And also, who's going to make decisions? Who's going to be your personal representative? Who's going to manage your affairs? We talked before about a durable power of attorney. Who's going to make healthcare decisions for you if you can't do that yourself? So those are the type of things you need to think about.
People should really start planning early. I've been hearing those commercials. I'm not going to mention the name of the company. They do a simple will online. if you got any kind of assets at all,
or children,
or children, you don't want to go that route because, first of all, if common sense says work with an attorney.
Right.
And, this is basically all your firm does.
That's right. And I'll tell you something. We, in a way, we like that company, but we don't. But because we make far more money fixing their mistakes than we would make doing it correct the first time. Now, I'd much rather do it correct the first time. I'd much rather someone come into me and do it and have me do it properly. But I've seen many times that someone's used the online will company to do a will, then they've died. It's been all screwed up, and nothing was right, and nothing was what it was supposed to be, and it's very expensive to fix it after the fact, after the person already died.
And now you could do a revocable living trust, which would save you a lot of time and money if it goes to probate.
It does. The purpose of a revocable living trust is to avoid probate. And probate is the process of after you pass away that someone has to go to court and the court administers your estate. That it appoints a personal representative to gather your assets, to marshal your assets, to pay off any creditors, and distribute the proceeds to the beneficiaries afterwards. And it's because it's court monitored and court overseen that it could be expensive and it could be time consuming. However, if you set up a trust, a revocable living trust, you can transfer all your property to the trust. Then when you die, you don't own the property, the trust owns the property.
Okay.
And because the trust owns it,
you're not personally taxed for it either.
Probate isn't necessary. Well,
and that gets expensive too, doesn't it?
It could.
Probate. I'm going to tell you something because I deal with lawyers. Because we have shows all over the country. I'm going to tell you something great about David. Some of these attorneys are so long-winded. Well, guess what? Long-winded, that clock is running.
Right.
You just bam, right to the point. And you make it sound so you can understand it. And when it comes to estate planning, you do not want someone talking over your head.
No, it's very complicated. But I try to make it as simple. I try to put.
I can tell.
Put it in layman's terms.
Now, if you would like to call David, you can call his office still today, or you can call tomorrow. The phone number there is 954-839-8705. The reason we do a show like Ask the Experts is I can't tell you how many people I hear say, oh, I Googled for an attorney. Well, listen, I know you guys spend a lot of money for analytics and everything. That's not the way to find an attorney. You have a show like this, we bring in he can't say this, I can, the best of the best. And it doesn't mean your prices are at the top either. I'm sure they're not at the bottom, but
no.
I don't want people thinking that because you are the creme de la creme that, I can't afford $600 an hour. That's not what we're talking here. But,
I can't give general
$700 an hour.
I can't give specific prices, but I can tell you with regards to estate planning, everything is flat fee. Everything is a flat fee. So person comes in and everyone's different, but based on their circumstances, we'll quote them a flat fee up front. And
so they know there's no surprises.
So there's no surprises at the end.
That's good.
And that's not going to change.
Now, but all attorneys are supposed to do that?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
Some do, some don't.
Well, at least that's nice. They come in, they sit down with you, they know exactly what they're going to spend. But first of all, I love you're just not long-winded, and that is wonderful because some of these attorneys, I ask them one question, they're going on for 20 minutes. So that's really good. We're going to go to break. God, that was a fast 15 minutes. We're sitting here with David Shulman. He's the senior partner of Ginsberg Shulman Attorneys at Law. They are on 401 East Las Olas Boulevard. But if you're in Palm Beach, they also have an office on Glades Boulevard. We're going to come back with more from David. I've got so many questions here. Got some great questions. We'll be back. You've got the Ask the Experts radio show.
When was the last time your will was reviewed, or do you even have one? Do you know that without a will, the government decides how your property is distributed upon your death? Did you know that without proper estate planning, your children would receive every penny of their inheritance on their 18th birthday to use or lose without any guidance? The law offices of Ginsberg Shulman provide their clients with comprehensive estate planning, probate and trust administration, guardianship, business planning, and wealth preservation. They believe that planning for the future should not be left until the future. Whether you are young, middle-aged, or in retirement, your life is always changing. Comprehensive estate planning can protect you and your loved ones from the unexpected. When you experience a significant life cycle event or life change, it is a good time to have your estate planning reviewed. Contact their office today at 954-839-8705.
We're back here with the Ask the Expert show. Our first half hour, we've got attorney. He's the senior partner of Ginsberg.
Actually, I'm going to correct you. So I'm the managing partner. My partner, Jill Ginsberg, is the senior partner.
Oh, okay. So he's the managing partner. They're partners. Ginsberg and Shulman, attorneys at law. They're on Las Olas. And they also have an office on Glades here in Boca. Phone number there is 954-839-8705. So, now, give everybody your website, because you got a great website.
It's www.ginsbergshulman.com. It's GINSBERGSHULMAN.com.
Did you say it's B-E-R-G?
It is.
Why in the world I had you, but okay, so it's GINSBERG.
Right, and there's no C in Shulman.
Yes, I finally learned that. Okay, so we've got plenty of questions here. If you'd like to call here and ask David a question, the phone number here is 888-565-1470. Now, I wanted to get in before we were talking about revocable living trust, but I actually have a question here about irrevocable trust.
Okay.
Tell everybody what that is.
Well, a revocable trust with an R is one that you can change. You can revoke, you can take it back, you can amend it. It's revocable. That's the purpose of that, is to avoid probate. An irrevocable trust is what happens when you either give the property away during life, you make a gift, or upon your death, your revocable trust becomes irrevocable, or it can't be changed. One of the reasons why you would do an irrevocable trust is sometimes for life insurance purposes, you would put your life insurance policy in an irrevocable trust, and it would not be subject to estate taxes upon your death. Another time is that if you have grandkids, let's say in your wealthy and you want to make a significant contribution or a gift to your grandkids, you can't give a 6-year-old $100,000. So
or even $10.
What you would do is you'd set up a trust for their benefit, and the money would be going to trust. It would be out of your estate. It wouldn't be taxed to you anymore. And then a trustee would invest the money and manage it. And then when the kid turns 18, it could pay for tuition.
No taxes are paid, though, until he turns 18.
Well, it depends on the situation. Remember, the gift and estate tax exemption, that is the amount of you can give away or die with, is $5.4 million. So we're really talking about very, very few people. For the vast majority of the people, they don't have to be concerned about gift and estate tax. Okay. If you have more than that, really give me a call, because I can help you out. But for most people, it's really the income tax.
They shouldn't be doing this themselves. Okay.
No.
Bottom line, and you know what I like about your office is you see all these law firms that have their shingles, they have 10 different shingles on there. I'm telling you, those days are over with. I'm telling you, go with someone that strictly concentrates on estate planning.
That's all we do.
That's all they do.
And estate planning and elder law and guardianship and probate, but they're all intertwined.
What is the difference between estate planning and elder law?
Well, estate planning is part of elder law.
Okay.
Any estate planning is valid for anyone, but elder law is estate planning plus all the various other issues that are involved.
Like home care, assisted living.
With home care, assisted living, Medicaid planning, financial abuse, neglect, all the other legal issues that could involve the elderly in addition to estate planning.
You know what? Your kind of practice is you can either pay me now or pay me later, because the ones who want to kind of try to do it themselves, there is so much that you need to know that there's no way you're going to end up missing something.
Right. And
you know what? I'll bet you, we've never talked about this before, maybe they can come in and you can give them a second opinion.
Absolutely. That's not a problem.
Okay. I kind of figured you would. His phone number is 954-839-8705. Why should people plan for not just death? We kind of hit on this before, but incapacity, because you don't know.
Again, you don't know what's going to happen. If you drive on I-95 every day, who knows what can happen? I mean, it's terrible out there, and people get sick. And
we drove today, because we Renee and I are at another station at 5:30 in the morning, and we saw a wreck out there. It wasn't on 95. It was on the underpass. Now, I didn't think you'd be in a wreck that was this bad under an underpass the bottom line is you don't know about what's going to happen
You really
tomorrow.
don't know what's going to happen, and you need to have someone appointed to make these decisions for you if you can't make them yourselves, because, again, otherwise the result could be a very expensive and intrusive court process.
I guarantee if you try to do it yourself, you are going to miss so many things that you didn't even know existed just because you wanted to save a few bucks.
Absolutely.
It's not worth it. So let's go to our next. What about Florida taxes now when there's a death involved?
Florida is one of the...
Are you protecting? You're protecting people.
Well, Florida's a great state for a number of reasons, and one of it is there's no income tax,
right,
and there's no death tax. So in Florida, you don't have to worry about those things at all.
So there's other states that have a death tax?
Other states have either an estate tax or an inheritance tax or a death tax. Many states have them. Florida does not, or an income tax.
Well, I got to ask this, and I knew someone would ask about this. Can you explain guardianship? There's two kinds, right? There's one, if like with our daughter, when she turned 18, the state actually was taking over.
Right, because she's special needs.
Special needs, which I got to tell you is a very strange feeling when the state tells you that they're going to tell you how to raise your daughter unless you do something about it.
Right, but those types of guardianships, I think what you're talking about was the guardianship advocacy for someone with autism,
and we had to do it that way.
Where you had to do it. Did you use a lawyer?
No, we didn't, because I think Renee did a lot of background.
Right, for guardianship.
It was all of a sudden.
Right.
We didn't realize that happens. But there's so many people who don't understand.
Right. But generally what happens is someone who's fine, and then something happens, they become incapacitated, or they're elderly and they slowly go downhill.
So mainly adults.
Mainly adults where their faculties lessen. You're the natural guardian of your minor children. You don't have to go to court for that. You're already your minor children's natural guardian.
You are automatically become their natural guardian.
Right. If they inherit or more than $15,000, or they have a lawsuit where they receive more than that much, then you may have to go to court to set up a guardianship of the property as opposed to guardianship of the person. But that's a little different from the guardianship of someone who's an adult who either they're elderly and they've lost their faculties, or they were in an accident, or something happened to them where they can no longer
has set in, something like that.
Right, where they can no longer make decisions for themselves, and they don't have proper planning. They didn't do a power of attorney or a healthcare surrogate, and someone needs to go to court to become their guardian.
What is your suggestion that they do when, say, my father, he's passed now, but let's say that dementia set in.
Right.
When should I have started planning for that?
As soon as possible. Once you have dementia, once you no longer have testamentary capacity, or you don't know who your relatives are, you don't know what your property is, it's too late. So you really need to plan beforehand. So if you don't have planning, you're an adult, you get it now, as opposed to, so the question of when is now, if you haven't done anything.
Donald Sterling, who I cannot stand, he was the owner of the L.A. Clippers.
Right.
So his wife went in and tried to tell the court that he had dementia, he had Alzheimer's, he didn't know. But you talked to him, he sounded perfectly fine. How do you keep that from him? And his wife was able to sell the entire team.
For billions of dollars.
For billions of dollars.
But so I don't know how much he has to complain about there, but
he didn't want to sell the team.
Right. There's sometimes guardianships are contested. Most of the times it's clear that the person is incapacitated, but sometimes the person will say, "No, I'm not," and then there'll be a very, again, expensive court fight.
Oh, that's got to be
and it's very
expensive.
painful because it's usually you have one child against another child, or one side of the family against the other side of the family. That's a very difficult situation.
That's got to be the toughest part of your business, is dealing with families. I mean, look what Prince is going through now. All of a sudden, all these new family members that I don't even know if he knew he had. Everybody's popping up now. Yeah. But even with the brothers and the sisters and the cousins,
right,
that must be really difficult when they're all in the same room together.
Sometimes, but most of the time families are good and they get along. But every now and then you got to finesse the situation. It all depends on the family.
So this says, why is a power of attorney document also dangerous?
The reason it's dangerous is because whoever you're appointing can, if they're dishonest or can take your money and go to Venezuela and just and run away with it, because you're really handing over the keys to the kingdom to whoever you're appointing.
That's right.
So they have full access and full authority to go to your bank account and to take your money. Now, most people appoint their spouse, and their spouse obviously is not going to do that.
Right.
Or they appoint a responsible child, so they're not going to do that. But sometimes, if you appoint the wrong person, then it can be dangerous because they can take all your money. And
why wouldn't they just have an outside party?
It's difficult to find them.
Oh. So now your firm could not be involved in that. Conflict of interest.
I generally would not be someone's power of attorney, except in their very specific situation.
See, I would think having someone a neutral party would be better than having a family member, because you never know when money comes up, people change.
But the problem with appointing someone is that they want to get paid. I mean, if you're gonna appoint a professional to do it, you have to pay them. And as soon as you tell people that, and they say, "Oh no, I don't want to pay any money. I'll have my cousin Bob do it." Is that right?
Wow! And there's companies that do this.
There are professional trustees for sure, but a lot of the times, when the money, it's not enough money for someone to be able to make a living doing it. So usually, you have to find a relative or a trusted friend.
Well, here's someone from Cooper City. It says, "What is the difference between a springing and a non-springing power of attorney?"
Springing power of attorneys no longer exist.
Okay.
It used to be that if you're that you can do a power of attorney that said it does not come into effect until I become incapacitated. It's sprung into effect upon your incapacity. That's no longer the law, unfortunately. Now a power of attorney is in effect immediately. When you sign it, even though you have capacity, whoever you appoint has full access and authority to use the power of attorney. Now, you don't necessarily have to tell them about it. In most situations, they won't, but that's another reason why it's very dangerous, because the person you appoint has authority now. They can't. It's no longer springing, and it's in effect immediately. It's not a waiting.
So what happened to these people who, in the past, had the springing power of attorney?
They are still, if they were done before October 2011, they're still valid. But anyone after that, they're not valid anymore.
I bet you this person still has that springing non-power of attorney. You know what? This goes by so fast. We've been sitting here today with attorney David Schulman. I keep wanting to say Ginsburg first, but he's with the law firm of Ginsburg and Schulman. They have an office in Fort Lauderdale, right there on Los Olas, but they also have an office here in Boca Raton on Glades. Their phone number is 954-839-8705. David's with us every month. If you have a question, you can actually email right from their website. Give them your website.
It's www.ginsburgschulman.com.
Well, simple. 30 minutes went by so fast, but at least you're getting answers from the best. We're going to go to break, and when we come back, we're going to do a Public Adjuster's new show this month. And David, thanks for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'll see you next month.
I love having you on, bro. We'll be right back after this commercial.
When was the last time your will was reviewed, or do you even have one? Do you know that without a will, the government decides how your property is distributed upon your death? Did you know that without proper estate planning, your children would receive every penny of their inheritance on their 18th birthday to use or lose without any guidance? The law offices of Ginsburg Schulman provide their clients with comprehensive estate planning, probate and trust administration, guardianship, business planning, and wealth preservation. They believe that planning for the future should not be left until the future. Whether you are young, middle-aged, or in retirement, your life is always changing. Comprehensive estate planning can protect you and your loved ones from the unexpected. When you experience a significant life cycle event or life change, it is a good time to have your estate planning reviewed. Contact their office today at 954-839-8705.
Has your home suffered water damage, fire, or smoke damage?